Well, and as we talk about doing all these big projects in 2018, 2019, what they all require is money to be accomplished and get done. And so, kind of give us just a brief overview of, what we saw in the 2018 budget, maybe what's a little bit different in 2019.
Well, fairly standard from what we've seen over the last few years. I mean, we're still having a growing economy. We're having a good economy, although we have seen a slowing in some areas. And, I'll let the experts talk about why that is happening. But certainly, we've had some record sales months when we look at our taxable sales and the retail, the restaurant industry, our lodging. We've had some great months in the past, and even in 2018, we continued to see increases over 2017. So that's always what we look at.
Mm-hmm.
Are we seeing some increases from prior year? And that tells us a lot. Even when prior year was a record year, that's great.
Right.
At some point, those numbers could dip a little, but there were record years. So if you have a 1 or 2% decrease on a particular month, we can sustain that.
Right.
But yeah, we've had good years, which allows us to do a lot of the projects that we're doing. It allows us to go out and create a fiber network in the community that only makes this, a more fantastic and better place for the people that live here.
Right.
And so, as we go into 2019 and we've adopted the budget, we're continuing. We have, our staffing is fairly stable, and that's certainly, a large part. It's like 40% of our general fund is just our staffing numbers of people that it takes to run the operations of the town, and those are stable. We didn't see any big jumps in any positions or anything from the prior year. And we have our capital projects are, fiber is one of those that you talked about. That's a big project for us. Obviously, the water plant that's ongoing is a big project. Some other things we'll talk about, I'm sure. Housing continues to be something that we're addressing aggressively. And so, the funds are in there to address those things. But we expect 2019, hey, if we go into that and we see a slowing down in certain areas, that's okay. I think we'll meet. Our budget is good and healthy, and we can handle that. So far, I think the people are still gonna be here, and certainly the way this winter started, I would expect that we're gonna have a successful winter season, and that will bode well for the town.
Yeah, and the good thing is that the BTO is always keeping an eye on the occupancy rate numbers and when people are coming to town, and kind of tracking maybe when we have some dips in that as well.
Yep.
And as we get all these people coming into town, and as we begin to develop our infrastructure, a really important topic that has come up time and time again at the town of Breck is parking and transportation. It's something that's always on our mind, but I think it's important to talk about. We had some really big successes in terms of our transportation in 2018.
Huge,
yeah.
One of those things we're probably the most excited about is we received a $1 million grant for 2019, which is going to allow us to help. It won't pay for it, but help purchase 2 full electric buses.
Right.
Some of you that are watching may have seen when we were demoing an electric bus for 30 days in town this past summer, and so we have ordered those buses. They will be here early spring, late spring, and they'll be on the road, and so that was great. And to prepare for that, we're currently constructing an addition to our bus barn, which will be designed for electric buses, because you need certainly a large electric capacity for charging stations in there, and that's underway right now out of our public works yard. But, and we're going to hit So last year was the first year, 2017, right? First year we hit 1 million riders
Right.
on our free ride transit system. This year we expect to exceed 1.1 million
Wow. Yeah.
riders. We're already, we were at 1 million right about the 1st of December already, and December is a big month for us to start hauling people. So we're continuing to see increases in ridership. That's good. That means we're getting people out of cars. That's less cars on the roadway. That's the whole goal of our transit program. And
Right.
so, yeah, good things.
Yeah, and I think, was it one of the studies that told us that just a small fraction, if we just got a small fraction of people out of their cars, it could really change congestion in town?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we try to work in ways of increments of 5 to 10%. So if we can get 5% of people out of their cars, that's going to have a corresponding decrease in the amount of congestion that we may see at particular times of day, whether they're in transit or if so we look at other transportation modes like our transportations, and then we also look at walkability. How do we make it? We're not a big community.
Right.
So if you're staying in a condo up off of 4 O'Clock Road, you really only have 2 to 3 blocks to come down into town. But how do we make that comfortable for people from out of town to feel like they can safely walk down this and see and go into Main Street? And
Right.
a lot of those improvements have been made in the last 2 years.
Yeah, and in 2019 we'll be constructing some more sidewalks, is that correct?
We have a 5-year kind of sidewalk master plan that we're working on, and one of the first areas we'll be working in 2019 will be some additional sidewalk extensions in the Warriors Mark area, and that's an area that has a lot of occupancy, and its proximity to town, people like to walk, which is a good thing. And so we want to get them out of the roadway, and we'd like to get them on a sidewalk. Now, we can't do the full plan. It's probably a 3-year process if we're going to do the full loop kind of around Broken Lance there, but we'll certainly start that first phase in 2019.
Yeah, and another